Hello students, I am Raghavan Kumar Singh, faculty of US Academy and Institute. Today we will discuss class 7th history's 4th chapter, the Mughal Empire. Ruling a large territory as the Indian subcontinent, involving such a diversity of peoples and culture, were an extremely difficult task to accomplish in the Middle Age. However, in contrast to their predecessors, the Mughal created an empire and accomplished what had before seemed possible for only a short period of time. From the later half of the 16th century, they expanded the kingdom from Agra to Delhi, going on to control nearly all the subcontinent in the 17th century. They imposed structures of administration and ideas of governance that outlasted their rule. It left a political legacy which the succeeding rulers of the subcontinent could not ignore. Now, the Mughal Empire. Who were the Mughal Empire? Descendants of two great lineages of rulers. Genghis Khan died in 1227. The Mongol ruler who ruled over parts of China and Central Asia. From mother's side, successors of Taimur died in 1404. The rulers of Iran, Iraq, and modern-day Turkey. From father's side, Mughal did not like to be called Mughal or Mongol, as Genghis Khan memory was associated with the massacre of innumerable peoples. It was also linked with the Uzbeks, their Mongol competitor. They were proud of their Timurid ancestry because their great ancestors had captured Delhi in 1398. Now, the Mughal military campaign. Babur was the first Mughal emperor in 1526 to 1530. Succeeded the throne of Fargana in 1494, when only 12 years old, forced to leave his ancestral throne due to the invasion of another Mongol group. The Uzbeks seized Kabul in 1504. In 1526, defeated the Sultan of Delhi, Ibrahim Lodi, at Panipat and captured Delhi and Agra. Mongol tradition of succession did not believe in the rule of primogeniture, where the eldest son inherited his father's estate. Followed the Mughal and Timurid custom of compulsory inheritance, a division of the inheritance among all the sons. Mughal relation with other rulers. Mughal rulers campaigned constantly against rulers who refused to accept their authority. However, as they became powerful, many rulers like the Rajputs joined the voluntarily. Many of the Rajputs married their daughters into Mughal families and received high position. Many resist as well. For example, Sisodia Rajput of Mewar refused to accept Mughal authority. However, upon defeat, they were honorably treated by the Mughals, given their lands, means Watan, back as assignment Watan Jagir. This carefully balance between defeating but not humiliating their opponent enabled the Mughals to extend their influence over many kings and chieftains. However, it was difficult to keep this balance all the time. Now about the Mansabdar and Jagirdars. Empire expanded to include different regions. Mughal recruited diverse bodies of peoples from Turkish nobles, means Turanis. They went on to include Iranians, Indian Muslims, Afghans, Rajput, Marathas, and other groups. Some joined Mughal service as Mansabdar. Terms refers to an individual who holds a mansab, means a position or rank grading system used by Mughals to rate one rank, salary, and military responsibility, rank and salary, determined by numeric values. Jat, higher the Jat, the more prestigious the noble's position in court and larger his salary. Mansabdar's military responsibilities requires him to maintain a specific number of sawar or cavalry men. Cavalry men were revived, registered, and their horses branded before the Mansabdar received the money to pay them as salary. Mansabdar salary were revenued assignment called Jagirs. Somewhat like Iktas, however, unlike Muktis, most Mansabdars did not administer their Jagirs. Mansabdars only had right to the revenue of their assignment collected for them by their servants, while they themselves served in another parts of the country. During Akbar Rime, Jagirs were assessed so that their revenues were roughly same as the salary of the Mansabdar. However, things changed by Aurangzeb rule during this time. Actually, revenue collected was often less than the granted sum. The number of Mansabdars also increased, thus leading to a long wait before they received a Jagir. These and other factors led to shortage in the number of Jagirs. Jagirdars tried to get as much revenue as possible. While they had a Jagir, Aurangzeb, unable to control these development during the end of the Rime, peasantry suffered. Now, Jabt and Zamindar. The main source of income for Mughal ruler tax on the produce of peasantry. Some of these taxes were paid by the peasants, while the rural elites like the headmen or the local chieftains termed as Jamindar by the Mughals. Todarmal, Akbar's revenue minister, took a careful survey of the crop yield, prices and area cultivated for a 10-year period, approximate 1570 to 1580. Based on this idea, the tax was fixed on each crop in cash. Every province was divided into revenue circle with their own schedule of revenue. Rates for the individual crops revenue system called Japt, prevalent in areas where Mughal administrators could survey the land and keep very careful accounts, not possible to provinces like Gujarat and Bengal. In some areas, the zamindars exercised more powerful exploitation by the Mughal administrators, could lead them to rebellion. At times, zamindars and peasants of the same caste also allied in rebellion against Mughal authority. Peasants' revolt challenged the stability of the Mughal Empire from the end of 17th century. Now a closer look Akbar's policies. The administration led down by the Akbar's elaborated, discussed by Abul Fazl in the book Akbarnama. In its last volume, the Akbari Empire was divided into provinces called Subas, governed by a Subedar, who carried out both political and military functions. Every province had a financial officer or diwan, means subedar, was supported by other officers such as the military paymaster, means Baksi, the minister in charge of religious and charitable patronage, means Sadar, military commander Fauzdar, and the town police commander Kotwal, in order to maintain peace and order in the province. Akbar nobles commanded large armies but had access to large amount of revenues. When they were loyal, the empire functioned efficiently, but by end of 17th century, many nobles and independent network loyalties to the empire weakened by self-interest. Akbar, when at Fatehpur Sikri during the 1570s, started discussion on religion with the ulama, brahmanas, Jesuit priests who were Roman Catholic and Zoroastrians. Discussion took place in the Ibadat Khana. Akbar's interaction with the peoples of different faiths made him realize that religious scholars who emphasize ritual and dogma were often bigots. Their teaching created division and disharmony amongst his subjects, led Akbar to the idea of Sulh Kul or universal peace. Idea of tolerance did not discriminate between peoples of different religion. In his rhyme, it focused on a system of ethics, honesty, justice, peace that was universally applicable. Abul Fazl helped Akbar in framing a vision of governance around this idea of Sulh-e-Kul. This principle of governance was followed by Jahangir and Shah Jahan. The Mughal Empire in the 17th century and after. The administrative and military efficiency led to great economic and commercial prosperity. International travelers describe it as the fabled land of wealth, state of poverty. Also existed side by side with the greatest opulence. Inequalities were glaring document from 20th year of Shah Jahan rhyme, who saw that the highest ranking mansabdars were only 445 in number out of the total of 8,000, amount to a mere 5.6% of the total number of mansabdars, received 61.5% of the total estimated revenue of the empire as a salary for themselves, and their troopers spend a great deal of their income on salaries and good expenditure. Salaries benefited the artisans and peasantries, who supplied them with goods and produce. However, scale of revenue collecting left very little for investment in the hands of the primary producer, the peasants and the artisans. Poorest lived a hand to mouth existence, could not invest in additional resources, means the tools or supply. To increase productivity, wealthier peasants and artisanal group, merchant and bankers profited in the economical world. Enormous wealth and resources commanded by Mughal elite made them extremely powerful in the late 17th century. As the authority of the Mughal Empire declined, his servant emerged as powerful center of powers in the regions. Constituting new dynasties and holding commands of provinces like Hyderabad and Awadh. They continued to recognize the Mughal Empire or the emperor in Delhi as their master by 18th century. The provinces of the empire consolidated their independent political identities.